Hey everybody, welcome back to another installment of our Race Day Scoring version 3 how-tos. Last week we went over some of the stuff around relay teams and teams in general. Today we're progressing to understanding more about aggregate teams. And next week we're going to do a little bit deeper dive into cross-country team scoring in version 3. I see that there's a few people already on. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Today, we'll always be recording our sessions, so if you do want to watch back any of these, we will have them recorded and we'll have them posted up on our YouTube channel as well as on the RaceDay Scoring Help page. So you can always find this information, and if you want to go back and watch the relay teams one, if you haven't, I highly recommend it. I will be going through a little bit more quickly some of the things we went over on that session. I don't want to spend too much time, but I do want to give a brief overview for anybody in the room who missed out on that session because there's some good information from that. So again, today we're going to be talking specifically about aggregate teams. I can tell you about what those are, the different settings that come along with it, and what we've done and how we've implemented it with race day scoring and run signup results. So this will be a little bit of an overview for some of the folks who attended last week's session, but we wanted to go through a lot of the different definitions of things for team scoring, because if we don't understand the basics, then we're not going to be talking the same language, and it's easy to be confused. So be aware that some of the settings that we talk about today, like team types and team scoring rules, excuse me, they work differently when you're using them for relay teams and aggregate teams. So we're going to be talking today about all these different settings and things as they relate to aggregate team scoring. So first off, I'm sorry again if you attended last week. We're going to be going over basics this week again really quick. Teams, they're a simple group of participants. Sometimes teams are used for scoring. Other times, they're just used for a social aspect of a race on RunSignup. They have it set up just for like social groups or something. Now teams can have members from any number of different registration events on RunSignup. We support that. And teams can have a team bib or chip number, but they're not required to. It's just a part of the data model that we have. One thing that is important to understand is that teams are always a part of a single team type. So in RunSignup and in race day scoring, you have the ability to set up, and you're required to set up at least one team type. So let's talk about that. Before we get there, if you're in race day scoring, you'll notice on the participants tab that there is a teams header you can click, and that will show you a list of all the teams that you have loaded for this race. So let's talk team types or classifications. Team types are a way to group together teams. So you may have, like in this next example here, where you have gender restrictions set up, you might have all female corporate teams in one team type and all male corporate teams in another team type. So that's kind of up to the registration coordinator or you if you're setting it up, or if you're just scoring a race, you can create them manually in any way you like. I usually don't find many people do that restriction unless they really want to ensure that people aren't registering for a specified team type. They will be created automatically if you're linking from a run signup race, if they have run signup group types enabled. But we can always add them in race day scoring as well if you needed to manually adjust or add additional team types after you've pulled everything down from registration. We fully support that. In addition, you can always support setting up new team types if you're importing like a spreadsheet of participants doing a local only race, always going to be supported there as well. You can import a simple spreadsheet of like first name, last name, gender, bib, team name, and team type, and it will put it all in for you. Some more things about team classifications and types. A single event can have multiple team types within it. For instance, you may have a 5K corporate run, and the way they do their scoring is that they want to break out the large corporations and the small corporations into separate scoring categories. So you'd probably want to set up separate team types for that so you can classify those teams. Now, it is possible to combine team types for scoring. if the members of the teams in that team type share the same event. So if you have like, a bunch of teams that have members in the 5K and you have a large and small company, you have the option to combine those together if you want to do that. Now, team types have their own specific team scoring rules. The way that we've set up our system is that all of the scoring is based on the team type, but we do allow you to default in and pretty easily assign all of the team types that are a part of a scored event, like a 5K, the same team scoring rules. If you happen to have a bunch of team types that are all the same, which is usually the case, you can go ahead and step into your scored event setup and just assign all of the team scoring rules from one spot if you need to do that. And then you can go from there and maybe adjust one or two if you needed to. But we find that most of the time it's just all of the team types associated with the 5K, they're all scored the same. So it's just good to know the relationship between these things and how flexible it is so that you can build out your scoring the way that you need it to be done. So in RaceDay scoring, you'll see that there's under the age groups little trophy icon, there's team classifications down here as well. Now what we've done in RaceDay scoring is made it easy to access your team list from the team classification page. Right in the header here, you'll see a teams link. That'll bounce you over to the participants teams tab. And on that page, you can also bounce back to team classifications using the same area. So this just lets you see a list of all your team types. In this case, I have 500 plus, so like companies with 500 or plus employees, and then another one that is 499 and under, so smaller, category, smaller company category. And then I have a social team type that I'm not even using for scoring. And if you stepped into one of those team types, you see some information about what was up there. So the things that are different about Relay versus Aggregate are these additional scoring rules that you see down in this lower left quadrant about scoring the teams and how to do tiebreakers and how far should I score through and so on and so forth. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So aggregate teams, we have gotten this far and we haven't talked about what the heck they are yet. So aggregate teams, they're a little bit different from relay teams. A lot of you may already know this, but I need to describe it for those who may not quite understand. The way that aggregate team works is that each member completes the full distance of the scored event that they are registered for. So everybody is doing a 5K. They happen to be a part of a team, but they're not doing a portion of the 5K. They're doing the full distance. So in relays, you have 3 people doing the full length of the course together. So one's doing 1/3 of it, another one's doing another third, another one's doing the last third. But with aggregate teams, everybody is doing the full distance. Then each member of the team gets assigned a score. Now that score is calculated based on the team scoring rules that you set up. So Matt Avery gets a score, James Harris gets a score, Chris McDonald gets a score, Roger Bradshaw gets a score. And those scores, they're all aggregated or added up, and a total team score is generated, which the team report sections will be sorting by. So this is how we do our team scoring for aggregate. We say, okay, each individual member of the team gets some score that's calculated in some way that I tell it to do it. And then we decide how many members should count towards the total team score. We spit out a total team score for each team, and then we rank all of those teams. So that is a breakdown on how aggregate team scoring works. It's a bit more complicated than relay, as you can see. Relays are basically, to the system, they kind of look like just a single runner going out, starting and finishing. It's just that it happens to have a few different people associated with it. This one, the system has to determine a score for each individual participant and roll it up and score it differently. So let's talk a little bit more about the team scoring rules. So for aggregate, again, how should this score field for each member be calculated? You have to tell the system what you want to do. There's many different ways you can do this, but the general categories of ways to do this are, should it be by placement or by time? And then you get to decide what type of place and what type of time. So I'm going to talk a little more about this in a minute, about all the different options you have to give participants who are a part of a team the scores And in addition to that, you need to decide how many members should be used in scoring for each team. So, teams may have 20, 30, 40 members, but maybe you want to say only the top 5 count towards the calculated team score. That's all configured when you set up the team scoring rules. In addition, what do you do when 2 teams happen to tie? Now, it's a little more common to tie 4 teams if you're doing the score field calculated by place, because it's just a number, and it's possible that 2 teams get the same score value. That could happen, but if you're just sorting it by time, it's a little bit less frequent. So these are the different options that we have available to score by. Now, it's always lowest wins, so you add up the top 5 overall places for each member. So if I got 5th overall, my score is 5. If James got 1st overall, his score is 1. You add up the top X number of members per team, and that's the team score. In addition, you can do age group place. So instead of saying I got 5th overall, well, maybe I got 2nd in my age group. That is my score that I'm going to use to calculate my team score. Similarly, you can do gender place. So I was the 3rd male or whatever. That's my score. And separate from that, the other options are things like what was the total time? So I'm going to add up the finish times for each of my runners on my team. Or I could do the average time. In addition, another cool one we have is the age grade score. So if you know anything about age grade, it's basically just a way to to say that, okay, because I am older, I should get a better score if I run a fast-ish time than someone who is younger, because of using these. We have these age grade tables that determine, a 17-minute 5K is pretty dang good for somebody who's 60 years old, but not so good necessarily for someone who's 18. So you could add up all of the age grade percentages and spit out a total age grade score for the team and rank it based on that if you want. You also have a few different options for the tiebreakers. So if 2 teams happen to tie, you can look at the next best finisher per team and compare them. Or you could compare the best last scored. So if it's through 5 members, you could say, okay, look at the 5th members, and between just those 2 participants, see which one did better. The best cumulative time is just seeing, okay, well, if you just do the total time for each team, if you were doing it based on place, this would make the most sense to use, and see, well, both of these teams got the same score because they both got the overall placement aggregated and they were the same, but Team A had a faster cumulative time by a few seconds, so they should win. The final one's pretty cool. It's head-to-head, or it's commonly used for NCAA cross-country scoring, but it can be used for standard aggregate team scoring as well. And that is a concept that you basically score each individual member head-to-head against each other. So position 1 and 1 from either team, compare, and then compare positions 2 versus 2 and 3 versus 3, and then you see who got the most amount of wins to determine who should break that tie, or which team should win. Now, like I said before, aggregate team scoring rules can be set up at the scored event level and then sent down to the individual team types associated with that scored event, or they can be customized at the team type level directly. When changing or saving new team scoring rules at the scored event level, we delete and regenerate reports based on the new settings that you've configured. So you'll see some messages as you are setting up team scoring on scored events. If you have already set up some reports, it's going to say, hey, I have to delete these and create some new ones. If you happen to build out custom reports, those will have to be rebuilt manually. It will tell you this. That's just how the system works. So if you were in the app and you had scored events set up already, you can click this team scoring button, and this will get you started with setting up the scoring for teams in RaceDay scoring. So in here, you could click it, and you could see this top area here says, what is the team scoring type? This is saying to the system, are the teams in this scored event relay or aggregate? You can only do one or the other. So for this one, we wanted to do aggregate. I'm not going to use team or use cross-country scoring. I'm not going to separate the report sections by gender. I have decided to score these teams by age group place. So each individual's or each team member's score is actually their age group placement. And then I add up all of their age group placements to determine a team total age group placement. And then the tiebreaker rule is best next finisher. So the sixth man in this case, or sixth person in this case, will be the tiebreaker using their position and their age group. And in my reporting, I have the option to show a team time display. You can decide to show total time or average time. That will basically just show up on there as an additional data field. And then the team scoring depth. So you can set it up by scored event or by team type. Most commonly being done by scored event if you're setting it up on the scored event level. So you could just say, I want to score through 5 for all team types in this scored event. Now when I go and click save, it will tell me, in this race I had already built some reports, so it's going to have to delete these and reset up default reports for me. So you go ahead and just click delete and continue. And then it will say, hey, I see that I have some existing team types. On this scored event, I see that there's Division 1, Division 2, and social team types associated with this scored event. So this race was on RunSignup, and when I synced the participant data, all the team types came down as well as all the teams. And so when I went in to set up team scoring, it said, hey, I have all of these team types. I am going to apply these new rules to these team types. And you have the option here to either apply the scoring rules to all team types, apply the scoring rules to team types without scoring rules. So if I wanted to say only adjust ones that have nothing set up for them, you could do that. Or you could just not make any changes to team types if for whatever reason you needed to do that. So we give you some options here. It's just all about deciding, hey, I'm building out these new team scoring rules. I see that I have some team types here. Which ones do you want me to copy all of these rules to? And then you just click update team types when you have made that decision. So I was been talking a little bit about default reports there. What you have to understand with the way that RaceDay scoring works is that we set up a bunch of default reports for you. When you set up scored events and age groups, we build a default overall report and a default age group report, just so you don't have to do them all manually. We give them to you with some preset column headers, and we make some assumptions about what you want to see in there, but we always give you the ability to customize everything. So you'll notice when you start up a race on RaceDay scoring, there's nothing in the reporting section, but after you get the setup done, oh, I now have an age group report and I have an overall report for each of the scored events I have. We try to be smart and only set up the ones we need, so you'll see those get created in the background for you. So we don't actually build any aggregate team reports by default, unlike the relay teams and cross country, which we'll talk about. The aggregate team reports, we don't build out any team reports, I should say. We do still build the default overall and age group reports. So if you want to set up aggregate team reports, you'll need to build these manually after setting up your team scoring rules, and I will walk you through that. So let's talk a little bit about reports and how those work. It's important to understand how reporting works in order to understand how to create all this stuff. So as it relates to aggregate, when you are adding in report sections to a report, this gives you the ability to combine results for multiple team types within a single scored event. Like I said before, a lot of times you'll have a 5K with a large company, small company team types, and sometimes you want them combined, sometimes you want them separate. So we give you the flexibility to build out reporting to suit all of your needs. You could have individual separate reports with a single section within for each team type, or you could have all of your team types in one report combined, or you could have a single report with multiple separate team types by adding in individual report sections for each team type. There's a lot of different options out there, so we decided we would just kind of leave it and let you decide how you want to make it. So by default, when you select multiple team types when you're adding a report section, they will always be combined together. So if you selected the 499 and down and the 500 plus. As you're adding a report section, it will combine all of the teams together and consider them as if they were in one team type. If you needed to, you could add individual report sections to show those separately. When you enable aggregate team scoring, you'll have a lot of new report sections that are available to you. So these are when you basically set up on the scored event level that, hey, this 5K also has team scoring set up with it. When you go and you build a report, you'll now see a few new options as you're adding in report sections. They are the team detail, the team summary, and the team finisher list. And I will describe them next. So the team detail report, as it's shown here on the right, it's a ranking of teams with member details shown. So basically, we just list out like five, the Aquinas College got first place, Progressive AE got second place. And I show all this information about all the members. I show their age, place, I show their score, I show their gender, place, all that stuff. And I also show the total team chip time, the tiebreaker value that was used for them. So, the next best finisher was 13. So the sixth place person had a score of 13. So that's what that is. And their total score, which is a team age group place. So this is the team detail, shows out all the members along with the team itself. Now, if you wanted a more condensed view, you'd want to use the team summary. This is just a ranking of teams without all the member details shown. It's a nice, just one row per team way to look at the results. We add in some default columns here. You can always adjust what columns show by customizing the report. And the final one is called the team finisher list. So this is a very important report for aggregate teams. It's a ranking of participants who are members of a team. It excludes all the non-team members. But what it does do is it does give you the ability to post results to RunSignup. So this team finisher list is extremely important. It is the single report you will need for team scoring to post results to RunSignup. So you can not even build any of those other reports I talked about and still publish results to RunSignup if that's all you want to do by creating this team finisher list. You don't even need to build out the summary in detail if you don't want to. I probably would still do it just as a quick way to check my team standings, but the point is this is the only one that really matters. So if you're not familiar, excuse me, with building reports in RaceDay scoring, I'll give you a quick walkthrough here and I'll show you in the app later. But in the reporting section in the bottom left, you can go ahead and click Build Report. You'll see I already have here a couple of default reports built out for me. Now these, like this in-person 8K overall, this is a ranking of all of the participants. Now there are participants in here who are a part of a team, and only those ones are going to be included in team scoring. So I will have to make that team member finisher list so that I can push results up just for those people who are a part of a team and should be included in team standings. So on the report builder on the left, you name the report and you can add in report sections to it. So from this events to include drop down, select whatever event you're working on. So for this one, I selected 5K. And then at the bottom, I can see what type of report section I want to add. And I see all of those new options: team detail, team summary, team finisher list, and then the old ones, overall and age group section. When you click one of the team reports, you'll be able to decide which team types should be included in this report section. And remember that the way we do this is if you decide to select more than one team type here, we're assuming that you want them combined for scoring. If you want to show them separately, just go ahead and select team, whatever report you're doing, team summary, and then click the division 1, add the team, report section, and then add another report section with division 2 selected. So make it pretty flexible. You can either combine or show separately. And I will walk you through that a little bit when we dive into the app further in just a minute. Once you have a report set up for the team finish list, you are able to publish results to RunSignup. So this is really important to understand for aggregate. This team finish list report section has to be in a report in order for that report to be auto-saved to RunSignup. so that the team results will be pushed up. Yeah, so it's not necessary to publish the team summary or team detail reports to RunSignup. Basically, if you publish the team finish list report, RunSignup generates all of the nice screens that look like the team summary and the team detail reports that we have in RaceDay scoring. So it's a single report you have to publish. You'll see what I mean when I show you in the app. So when published to RunSignup, this single report will create a team member results set as well as a team results page at RunSignup. So usually for Aggregate, you may have a few different team types. In this race, I decided to set up a 1 to 499 team finish list, a 500 plus team finish list, and the standard 5K overall. And each of these ones, you'll see I have these options on the right, more links here. These are saying that this is a report that I'm able to publish to RunSignup. The 500 team detail, I can't publish to RunSignup. It's not a team finish list, it's not an overall report, so I cannot publish it. The team finish list is the one that generates all of the nice looking team results pages that RunSignup for me automatically, so I don't want to go and try and publish those ones. So this is a look at what the team finish list looks like when you're on RunSignup. You can see that there is a group team name listed along with each member, and you can actually click into it and view the details on that team itself. And this is the team results page that gets generated when you publish that team member report. You can select from this drop down here which one you're looking at, and it will show you all the details about the teams along with their finisher scores. And if you click a team name, it will bring you over to the results for this team. So it'll list out all the members of this team, and you can click into their names and it will bring you into their individual record, and also show all the details at the top here. So I clicked into Don, I could see some detailed information about him. I can go back to the team results by clicking the Aquinas College link here. It all works pretty nice and smooth. So your participants can view not only themselves, but also their teams very easily. So I'm just going to show you in the app here what we're working with, because I know it's a lot more helpful if I can actually show you what I'm talking about instead of just showing you on a slide deck. So this is a race that I have already set up. I've already pulled all my reads in for. So if I go into participants and teams, I can see at the top that I have all of these different teams in here. I can see that all of them are in the 5K event. Looks like there's one in the Survivor event, but basically everything is in there. If I click at the header here, team classifications, it'll let me view all the details about the different types of teams that I have, right? So I've got Division 1, Division 2, and social teams. So in Division 1, I can click in, I can see the details about, hey, this team type has these rules, but as we know, a lot of the team scoring stuff is usually set from the scored event level itself and distributed into each of these team types, but you can always go in and adjust these if you needed to. I don't find that's very common, but it is there if you need it to be flexible. So in that scored events area, again, you can go into team scoring. You can see all of these details here. If I needed to change how the scoring should be calculated, I could do that by changing any of these. I'm not going to right now because it would delete all my reports that I had already built. So let's take a look. So I have already created all of these separate reports. And so I'll show you some info about that. So the team detail, again, it shows me all about the teams, shows me all the information about the teams, shows me their age place, which, this race I've decided to score by age place, and I've said that the top 5 scores and their age group placements are added up, and then I'm sorting based on the lowest total age group place. So for this report, I only have one section. If I go into Actions Edit, I will see that I have this 5K teams section. And it's telling me that I have a single team type here, Division 2, 499 and under. If I wanted to, I can always change that and decide that I want to include both. Like I said, there's many ways you can do this. It's usually more common to just have each individual team type its own section, but you can do whatever you need to do based on whatever you're working with. So let's see what it looks like if I were to add a report like that. Let's say I wanted to add a report of the 1 through 499 and the 500 plus together. Well, I could do that. Let's just say all teams. And for instance, I might want to do something like I want to show at the top team summary of both the divisions combined. I would just select both, click select, and then it would say, hey, I've got two team types in this report section. Division 1, 500 plus, and Division 2, 499 and under. And then I could add in the team detail and do a similar type of thing. So now what I'm gonna see is I'm gonna see all of the teams in a summary and then all of the teams broken up and detailed. So if I now click this all teams link in just a second here, I'll see a big summary of all of the teams listed out like this. And then I see the detail beneath it. So that could be a useful report. You get your summary at the top and then you can dig into more details at the bottom. So let's take a look at what I want to do to publish results to RunSignup. So again, I have a few of these that say autosave and click publish next to them, but not all. And that's because you can't publish like certain reports to RunSignup. You only need to publish overall report and finish list reports. And it will generate all the nice looking results that we were talking about. So before we get started, let's just take a look. Right in the top, I have a link to my dashboard. So I can go here and I can view that there's currently no results. So I'm gonna wanna push these up. So if I go into the autosave, what I will do is I'll click autosave, select that it's for RunSignup results, click add stream, and it's just telling me that it noticed that the place column is mapped to the report column overall place. The way that we do aggregate team scoring is, for each of the teams, we have its own little section. And I want to show in that section the individual placement for the member, not the placement in the overall report. So this is fine. This is only really a problem if you see it say like, hey, the RunSignup column age is mapped to the report column overall place. Then you know that's wrong. So that's fine. I'm just going to go and click save. And now I know it's publishing because I have live results links over here, and I can go and view that. It'll take 30 seconds for that to go, so I'll just go ahead and set up my other ones while I am waiting. So I've got my 500 team finish list out there now. So if I just do a refresh, I now have results. And what I have here are two lists of results. I have my 1 through 499 team finish list, and I have my 500 plus team finish list. So again, remember, this is just the people who are in the 5K who happen to be a part of a team that are listed in each of these results sets. This 5K overall report is going to include some people who are not part of a team potentially. So I will also want to publish that one. So what I'll end up with is 3 different RunSignup result sets here. The overall report, which is everybody, like, this guy isn't a part of a team, but he's the winner, so he should be in there. And these other 2 result sets are just the team members. So we need to have these team member lists in order to generate this team results link over here. So this is my team results link for Division 2 and the team results link for Division 1. And so with each of these, you can go in and you can click the team name. You can view all the details about this team. You can view information about each of the members by clicking in and clicking back into the team. So you got everything you need right here. If you want to, you can view more information quickly at a glance by clicking the age group place. Gives you a quick view into each. Also, it will show, the placements there. So really nice and easy looking results setup for RunSignup results. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you just have to make sure to publish that team finish list, and it will all be generated for you automatically. No need to push all of these individual results sections together into RunSignup. It all does it for you. And if you saw here on the individual member list, it will give you a link to this person's team. If you just click that, and you can see all of the information about their team results that way. Now, you may have noticed, but the 5K overall report, it does include everyone. Now, it doesn't include, by default, the team name column. So what if I wanted to show team name here because I wanted to call out those who were a part of a team? Well, I can do that. I just have to customize this report. So in the 5K overall report, let's just go in Actions Edit, and I am going to put in here team name. And I'm going to move it over to be right next to their name. Well, maybe next to their, yeah, I'll put it next to their name. I'm going to save that report and give it a second. And now I will see that it's not ready yet. Let's give it a minute. Might yell at me. Oh, didn't pull it in, but oh, maybe it's not everybody in the top has a team, but you can see down here below the teams start filling in. So looks like a lot of the fast people weren't part of teams, but it'll list out each of the people's team names if they were a part of a team. So that's how you might adjust a report to add in some more information about teams after you've already added some reads in. So let's jump back into the presentation. Before we kind of wrap up here, we're getting close to the end. Were there any questions that needed to be answered, Chris?
Nope, I think you covered everything.
So Avery, one thing just to kind of talk about, which might be a little different coming from race director to RaceDay scoring, can you talk for a minute about the fact that when you go to create the report and you're selecting the team types, like the decision is basically whether or not you want to score that as one set of people and or if you don't, and just show them when you build a report, when you're creating your sections where you're making a decision about scoring things together or not together.
Yeah, so if I were to do a report and I want to say team detail, if I wanted to put everybody together, I would just select both of these. And if I wanted to do, actually a better example would be like team summary. I could do like team summary, both divisions together, and team summary, just division 1, and then team summary, just division 2. And it'll see here like, hey, I've got division 1 and 2 in this section, division 1 in this section, division 2 in that section. And if I do that, I'll be able to see once it calculates everything. Got multiple team types here, and then I've got my division 1 summary and then my division 2 summary. So it's pretty flexible. You can decide to combine or show separately all these different team types.
And so the scoring is going to be applied based on everybody in that group of categories or individual categories, and that's the way it's been set up, even for when you start doing your age group placements and everything.
Yep, exactly. So it's all based on this section, how I've decided to score it. So you might have different scores for each of these because it's using different people. Anything else?
That's all we had today.
Cool. So I'll wrap up with a few outro slides. Just one thing. If you have any questions, again, feel free to contact us. RaceDay@runsignup.com is our support channel. We have our support line always on 267-603-1469. If you have any urgent questions, especially on the weekend, do not hesitate to give us a call. We're more than happy to assist you. Next week, we do have another webinar on cross country. So we're going to dive in a little bit further into aggregate team scoring and talk more about the specific settings that apply to cross country, as well as a few additional features that are really helpful for cross country, like our new automated event switching based on reads at a certain time of day at a certain location. So you might want to switch all the participants who start between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. to the boys JV, 10:01 and 11 a.m. to the girls JV, and so on and so forth. We'll be talking more about that kind of thing June 22nd at 12 p.m. next week, same time. If you do have more questions, you want to learn more, help.RaceDay scoring or rdscoring.com. It's got a lot of good details and guides on getting started with RaceDay scoring. But the best thing you can do is use the in-app help. This sends a note to our support team with the copy of the race you're working on. So it lets us get a view into where you're struggling. And if you just say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, here's my current setup, we'll be able to help you out really quick. And if you're interested with some more involved support, Chris will do a one-on-one session with our timers. So he's our training expert. If you haven't done a session with him before, it's really helpful, I think, to reach out and set up a time to chat. So what works really well, we find, with this setup is to bring a specific race you want to try and recreate. Maybe if you're new to RaceDay scoring, say, hey, I got this race in, if you're a MyLabs timer, timing and scoring, that I've scored in the past, and I want to see how I would do it with RaceDay scoring. That's a really great example of how Chris can help you out. He'll walk you through how to recreate that race so you can feel more confident in setting things up in the future. That link is calendly.com/RSU RaceDay tools. And that's all I have for today. So yeah, thanks again for coming to another installment of the RaceDay scoring version 3 how-tos. Unless there is anything else, I guess I'll talk to you all next week. Thanks again. Bye.